Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Karen Reborn. In case you're new here, kindly subscribe to my channel. And for the returning subscribers, thank you so much for always having me back. So today I want to analyze a book. There is XALA by SEMBENE. Kindly sit back, relax and enjoy the analysis. This book by SEMBENE is a very nice book. The other time I analyzed a book, There is God's Bits of Wood, by the same person, OUSMANE, and it was a nice one. And I promise you this is also a nice one. So kindly relax and watch this book to the end. So first we are introduced to this book, this character, who is El Haji. And through the introduction of this character, we get to see that it happens during the time for struggle for independence. They were struggling to get independence for Africa, and there was also hope for independence. Most Africans believed that after independence, they are going to live a very nice life, they are going to live well, and if their land was taken, it was going to be restored because the whites were now returning to their home. And also this book also tells us about the betrayal in independence. After independence, we thought that as Africans, we are going to get back all that was taken away from us, that everything will be restored to us as Africans. But the leaders that came through after independence now became worse than the colonizers because they took everything away. They even oppressed the beggars. And in the book, we can see that this is El Haji is a very prominent person. And the prominence doesn't just happen with time. It's something that just booms. This is someone who was a failed merchant. Then from a failed merchant who is nothing, now comes to be a prominent person in the society. And this happens by El Haji going through the beggars' families and taking their land, ancestral homes, and selling them for his own gain and benefit. So in this book, we get to see that these happenings happen as a result of betrayal of independence. These people were betrayed because as an African, you are expecting a different thing, but these leaders coming, they did something else. And so El Haji, as the main character, is known as someone who is now a prominent person just from nowhere, just booming from nowhere and now becoming that great man in the society. Again, we found that this is someone who is married. He has two wives. There is the first and the second wife, and they convince him into marrying a third wife. This gives us the manipulative character of the women in the book. These women were so important in this book. As you can see, if they wanted to acquire anything or to get anything, they could persuade their husband into getting it. The first wife was so much into Senegalese tradition, and the second wife was so much into modernism, speaking of French, living like the white. Now they insist that this man should marry the third wife. And because they were doing this, but they were so jealous of the same. They were jealous of their husband. And because of jealousy, Bineta makes El Haji to marry the niece. That is Ngoye. And Ngoye, as the niece being married in this family, these wives are not happy. And because they're not happy, they're so jealous of this woman. After the marriage, everything going on so well, Ngoye now convinces, during the night after marriage, convinces or tries to persuade El Haji into performing some rituals, which El Haji refuses. And as a result, during the night, El Haji fails to rise to the occasion. Because this is a bride, and during the night of the wedding or honeymoon, something needs to happen, which doesn't happen because he could not rise to occasion. And this was as a result of this disease called XALA. XALA, this is also known as impotence. He was now an impotent person. And during this time of marrying, and these people the women wanted him to marry so that they can prove that he's man enough. But this doesn't happen. El Haji has to open up and tell people what has taken place and how he's not able to rise to the occasion. And because of this, the news is now spread all over the nation. Everyone now knows about El Haji's condition. On the other hand, we find that these people are struggling to when El Haji is struggling to digest this thing, now the rumors gets everywhere, and El Haji is trapped somewhere. Also to see that a man that cannot satisfy his wives at home, how are you going to ensure that the nation is satisfied? So this is why we get the metaphor of Hala, because he could not rise to the occasion and satisfy the bride or even the wives. It was now difficult for him to ensure that the nation was stable. For the stability of a nation depends on the development of families. If your family is not developing in a way, then as a leader, you're not going to be productive in the nation. This is the same thing that happened to El Haji. El Haji could not be productive because he could not perform the family rights or the conjugal rights at home. So failing to rise to the occasion now brings the big question here. After realizing about the disease of Hala, El Haji now visits different people. After visiting hospitals and everything fails, visit different people to consult about this Hala. And these people just tell El Haji that this is someone who is so close to you that has done this. And because El Haji thought that the second wife, this modern wife, was so close to him, he now thinks that because of jealousy, the second wife did this. But he could not confront her because he didn't have enough evidence to be able to confront the woman. So he continues with the journey motif, continuing to find the solution for this Hala. El Haji, after visiting Mada, who is a herbalist or a witch doctor, Mada gets them the solution for this Hala and gives El Haji the cure. El Haji is cured from Hala. And after the cure of Hala, El Haji, because most of the men, if we're going just to be honest, or any human being, like you've been missing something, you've not been in a position to do a certain thing, and now you want to prove to people that you are really a great person. And he wanted to prove to the wives that he's now a man or man enough. And coming home, he's not even sure which villa he should visit first, because the women lived in different villas. He didn't even know who to go into first, and it was now a dilemma. He didn't know where to go first. He was in a confusion kind of a thing. So El Haji now goes and tries to satisfy these people, because now the impotence or the Hala has been cured and he is now man enough to do these things. And because he paid the murder using a check, and this check failed, because now he's been using a lot of money during this journey of trying to find the cure for this Hala. El Haji, even though a prominent person, he's been using a lot of money because he's fighting to find back this the solution for this, to find the solution. So he's been so desperate that any amount of money that you're going to mention for him, he's going to give it to you. And now he was running bankrupt, and because of this, the check that he used to pay murder now bounces, because there was not enough money in the account. After the check bouncing, now Mada comes to threaten El Haji that because you lied to me, now I'm going to restore Hala. I have power to restore it back to you. So you can imagine someone has been happy about the situation, then the Hala is now restored back. And because he could not get enough money, and even getting into debt as a result of curing this Hala, he could not get enough money to pay this man, and the Hala was restored back. Getting restored, he's so desperate, he cannot go anywhere to get the solution. All the villas and everything that he owned are now being taken back, because he could not even have enough money to sustain his family or himself. And the first wife now had to return back to their home in Waterview. And because of this and desperation, now a beggar comes and tells El Haji that I'm going to cure your Hala. I have a solution to your Hala. But the beggar doesn't mention what he wants in return. He reluctantly accepts this, because after all he was so desperate for the solution for this hala, and he wanted to prove that he was man enough. So because of this, the beggar now comes to the home to visit El Haji, and tells El Haji that the only cure for your disease is just you getting naked. Then we beggars and the lame and what have you, those people coming and spitting on you. And the beggar visits El Haji together with the lame and such people that were from the society. And when saying lame or the beggars doesn't really mean, or the lame, these are just the less privileged in the society. Maybe they are the poor that are in the society that El Haji benefited at their expense. So because of this, they come to agreement, and they visit El Haji in his home. Visiting El Haji, this is what they wanted. Even though Rama, the daughter to El Haji, tries to reject that thing, because you can imagine your father, this is a prominent person, now laying down to be so that people can spit on. So it was a difficult thing to accept, which most of the people won't accept. Then this lame now slaps this Rama to show that you're now under our feet. We have control, and we what we do. Your father is so desperate, and whatever we will ask, that is what your father will do. El Haji accepts, and this lies down, and these people spits on him. And spitting on him, that just shows that and they first of all they reveal to El Haji the reason as to why the hala was in them, and how he ensured that El Haji could get this hala. And says that because El Haji took their property, this is now a kind of revenge, and they wanted their properties back. You remember at the beginning of the book, I told you about the ancestral homes that El Haji took to his own benefit. And these people now decide that they want their land back and what have you. So from a prominent man to being spat on and lying on the ground naked and people spitting on you, it was so difficult. This shows that they were so angry they were so angry about what had happened to them, and how this person or a leader was so merciless to them by doing all this and making them okay. This beggar was even taken to prison. El Haji ensured that he was in prison during the time that he was taking the land. Now it was time for El Haji to pay back for whatever he's been doing. So as a prominent person now ending, everything turns down, and El Haji has to suffer the consequences of his behavior. This talks more about these leaders that we have. Most of them will promise heaven, which they cannot deliver. And people tend to believe. And they do this at the expense of the people in the society. And as a politician, you will always believe them because you think they're saying the truth. Because after all, you're so needy and you need some help. But to the extent of coming and taking away your land to ensure that he's going to enrich himself and letting you be. So because of this, he's now taken back from hero to nothing. He comes from hero to zero. So in this book, you get to learn about the happenings and the hala and the journey, and how he loses everything in the journey of trying to find a solution for this hala, which could not be cured. And after that, a man could now rise to occasion, because now the hala has been killed. Every property that belonged to these beggars were now restored back, and it means that this person can now rise. So that is why I said the stability of a nation depends on the development of a family. If for instance you take your overall leader, if this leader is not stable in his own home, is not going to lead people in the right way, or is not going to be able to deliver what is expected of him in the society. That is what happens most of the time. As a leader, you first need to ensure that your home is okay. And that is how everything turns back, and El Haji faces the consequences. So I'll end it at that. It's a very insightful book that you're going to enjoy, and OUSMANE Sembene is a very good writer. That you can see that from, you can go back and read and view that book, God's Bits of Wood by OUSMANE Sembene. Is also a Senegalese setting, and you're going to enjoy, because this man, he has very direct stories which speak about the current society, speaks about everything that happens, listing them in a very right way that you're going to understand. So thank you so much for watching until the end. I love you so much, and in case you are a new subscriber, thank you so much, and for the people returning, thank you so much, and kindly share my video, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.